This is the make or break moment for not just Donald Trump, the criminal potentially charged with crimes, but Donald Trump, the presidential candidate.
Yeah, an ex-president. He's
an ex-president.
Yeah, he was president, and he wants to be president again. And in the midst of all of that, he's campaigning, and he's also going to be waiting for a verdict. Now, so far, we hear that closing arguments are a week from tomorrow, meaning the very earliest we could get a verdict would be a week from Wednesday, unless that judicial calendar slips. There's never been so many eyes on that calendar, I don't think. We're wondering from around the world, you know, you could have anything from peace and quiet, no big deal. It was what we expected, to protests.
Sure. All the while, donors are not moving away from Donald Trump. They're moving toward him. This is a true split screen, almost split reality, because so far this trial has not done anything to dent his campaign, maybe the opposite.
It has not done anything to dent his campaign, but look at the key demographic that this week we see President Joe Biden trying to bring in. He's trying to bring in black voters, which has been a mainstay for the Democratic, that demographic has been a mainstay for the party, for the Democratic Party. But Trump is making some inroads. So not only is he keeping his donors amidst this trial, but also while he is continuing his often bombastic rhetoric and sort of twisting where we are with race relations, he's winning support from that demographic.
Amazing. President Biden, meantime, spoke about the war in Gaza and an important stop at Morehouse College yesterday as we keep our eyes on both campaigns. Here's what he had to say.
It's a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. That's why I've called for an immediate ceasefire. An immediate ceasefire to stop the fighting. Bring the hostages home. And I've been working on a deal as we speak, working around the clock to lead an international effort to get more aid into Gaza, rebuild Gaza. I'm also working around the clock for more than just one ceasefire. I'm working to bring the region together, working to build a lasting, durable peace.
Let's bring in Bloomberg's Dan Flatley with an eye on foreign policy here. These are two candidates. We started with Donald Trump, Dan, on to Joe Biden, each with their own challenges at the moment, and Israel remains a big one for the sitting president. There were concerns about protests at the college commencement address over the weekend, and we did see a few students turn their back to the president. The message that he's delivering, though, we have to acknowledge, comes with a very pro-Israel policy that technically hasn't changed despite his recent decision to withhold some weapons. What's the big picture here?
Yeah, no doubt the Biden administration is trying to thread a very narrow, thread a needle through a very thin, very narrow opening here. Essentially trying to continue the support that they have voiced for Israel and for the government there, while also trying to speak to some of the voters here, some of the voters that Saleha was talking about earlier that are a key part of the Democratic coalition. And in order to do that, you have to speak directly to those folks, but also continue the support as you have going forward. So it's a very difficult thing to do.
Well, certainly we know there is a lot of difficulty in the Middle East right now, and potentially it was complicated further this weekend by the death of the Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi in a helicopter crash. We heard more about this from the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin earlier today.
Regarding the death of Iran's president in the very unfortunate helicopter crash, we continue to monitor the situation, but we don't have any insights into the cause of the accident at this point. And certainly I know the Iranians are investigating or will investigate, and so we'll see what the outcome is once their investigation is complete.
So, Dan, obviously we still have questions about what exactly happened here that led to the death, not just of the president, but also the foreign minister. But we also have questions about what realistically this changes, both inside Iran and outside of it.
Yeah, I think, this is not happening in a vacuum, obviously. And I think from, speaking to folks today, what we understand is that it won't have any meaningful changes in the near term on the Iranian government or the Iranian government's posture toward its proxy forces in the Middle East, which are involved in conflicts on a number of fronts. But it will potentially have an impact on the country's aspirations moving forward when it comes to its nuclear weapons program. the hold of the supreme leader, the hold that he has on power, and potentially could complicate things in the region. We also know that the king in Saudi Arabia has gone in for some procedures. So there's sort of a balance of power that is ever shifting in the region, even as the U.S. tries to work its will on the Israel-Gaza war. And so all of these things will need to be taken into account by the administration as it tries to kind of craft a policy ahead of an election where this could be a foreign policy issue that has a lot of resonance for American voters.